My man Czar make tracks like this.
What's going on, y'all? I want to show you one of my favorite Waves EQs, and that is the RS56 Passive EQ. Now, this is an EQ from Abbey Road Studios, based from the 50s, and it's included in the Abbey Roads bundle. Before we get too far into this, I want to make sure everybody, if you haven't already, go and sign up for the free plugin that Waves is giving away this Black Friday. I have a link in the description that will take you there. Okay, so back to this EQ. I picked this up a couple months ago for a $29 sale that Waves was having for it, and very glad that I did. I'm a huge fan of passive EQs. They're very sweet sounding and can be very powerful as well. And with this one, I've been using it a lot on vocals and drums. And this first example I'm going to show you here is a artist named LarysaJaye. She plays acoustic and sings. And I'm going to play you this with the EQ. And as I play it, I'm going to bring the EQ in and out. And after that, we'll go over a overview. I've got here on the left is the mono version. On the right is the stereo version. So on this, I've done a cut at 512 hertz. I've done a boost at 8K, and I've also, did I boost the low end some? Did not. Okay, so we've just cut some in the mids and raised some in the highs. So I'm going to start with the EQ out, and I'm going to bring it in so you can hear the difference that the RS56 is making on this track. There's two tracks here. They're both, one track is the vocal and the second track is the guitar. But of course, with recording acoustic and vocals at the same time, there's some, you're going to have bleed there. So both tracks are essentially the same thing here. Just the second track is more guitar and the top track is more vocal. I got them both going to a bus, and that's what the RS56 is on. We're going to start with the EQ bypassed.
Never felt so ugly, pretending that he loves me. Sometimes it's just that money never had to afford me. Now I'm sick and tired of you just taking right off. Know when I forgive you. You ain't here for dinner like I'm a beginner. Loved you for your inner, and the next guy is out there somewhere, but you won't dare, 'cause you're too scared. Have you ever needed someone so bad, but he ain't willing to make it last? Sometimes you gotta lose to win again. If it makes you cry, 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 'cause all you do is fight. Can't get no sleep at night. Sometimes you gotta lose to win again.
So I really like the brightness in the air that we're getting with the RS56, and it's really an addictive EQ because I feel like I can use it on pretty much anything, especially when I want a good, sweet, smooth top end. It's definitely a character type EQ that's going to add some color to what you EQ with it. So let's go over an overview. So for the overview, we're going to look at the mono version, which is the one on the left, just because it's a little less going on here and a little easier to understand when you first pull it up. So our decibels here is the gain. We've got a plus and minus 20 dB that we can add there, which is a pretty far range for an EQ. The top end here, we got top bass and treble. Generally, we see treble as high end, but the treble here is really the mid range. If you got 12 total frequency that you can select, 4 in the lows, 4 in the mids, and 4 in the highs. In the middle is you have your Q selector. So to demonstrate this, going to go down to the low band and let's kick this up here. So you've got far left is your low shelf, and it gets from there, it goes to a bell curve, just a blunt, and from there it just gets sharper with the Q until you get to the far right. That is a high shelf, and we'll demonstrate the high shelf up here. Yeah, so that's a high shelf all the way to the right. You've got a 15 and 30 dB, and you can see it change here on the left. Output is your output control, and you've got phase. I found interesting here is the VU meter. You can actually calibrate that to something other than 18 if you choose to. Looking at the stereo version, same as the mono, just got 2 sets here because you've got your left and right. You've got stereo, just like with most Waves plugins. Duo is going to be your left and right unlinked and your mid side. And with the with both versions up in the upper left here, you have the option to collapse down this view if you wish to. Let's move on to some more examples. So for this example, I have some overheads here. I'm going to let this loop 3 times. The first time, I'm going to have it bypassed. Second time, I'm going to bring in the RS56. And on the third time, I'm going to let it play halfway bypass, and then I'll bring in the RS56 halfway through. What I'm doing here on these overheads, I've got 12 dB boosted in the low end, and I've got 4 dB boosted at 16K up on the top end. Let's take a listen. Okay, so that was RS56 on some overheads. You can really add some low end weight there. I mean, 12 dB is a lot, but you can hear with overheads, you're not going to get a lot of kick drum out of that anyway. But just to show you what you can pull out of that low end here with the RS56. Let's move on now to some electric guitars. So on this electric guitar, I've got 4 dB boosted at 256 hertz on the low end, and I've got a 1K boosted by 4 dB in the mid range. I'm going to play it through, let it loop, and then bring in the RS56, and then I'll let it loop again and bring it in and out through the same pass. So again, RS56 adding a lot of color and just making the guitar sound bigger there with the EQ curves that I've got going on there. So again, really huge fan of the RS56. I highly recommend this one. Look for it on sale as with all Waves plugins, and I'm going to have a link to the RS56 in the description of this video if you want to click that and check it out and see what the price is at this time for it. But it's definitely one I would look for, especially with Black Friday coming up. So there's my review of the Waves RS56 Passive EQ. Any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.